So there's this story I wanted to tell about my first trip to Japan in 2012. Um, a friend and I decided to go. We're close friends, and we hadn't been overseas without family before, so we thought it'd be a good first place to go. And yeah, so we went to Japan, and we were there for a month, and we did a bunch of tourist stuff and saw museums and went snowboarding, all that kind of stuff. But then we used to go nightclubbing like every weekend, and we go out and you know just like 3 nights of the week go out to new night spots and stuff. And we were at this club called Woom, which is like a famous multi-level nightclub. And yeah, we'd go there and we'd meet heaps of Japanese women, obviously, because they go there to meet white men. And I met this girl and she was talking to me and she was really nice, but she didn't speak much English. And so we communicated as best as we could. And then she said in broken English, "Do you want to come back to my place with me? We'll leave here and we'll go back and have some drinks." And I could understand that much. And I'm like, okay, sure. Like, I'm young. I don't usually do this sort of thing, but, when in Rome sort of thing. And so we left the nightclub, said goodbye to my friend. And then, yeah, we were walking back towards her place through downtown Tokyo in Shibuya. And she pulls me into this shop, it looked like a house. And we go in there and there's this guy standing behind the counter and there's like a wooden table counter. And then she says something to him in Japanese and then he looks at me and then she says more to him in Japanese and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they sort of sounds like they're arguing or something. Anyway, he flips the table over and it's like a rotatable table and underneath there's all these like products. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like very unusual. And they were like, looked like condom packets. Like there was a series of like sealed sort of silvery little like plastic packets. And they had pictures of like dragons and like an octopus with really red eyes and all of this crazy shit on it. And I was thinking, oh, like that's a condom packet. Like that makes sense. Like it was in that classic shape. And so then they talked more and then she pointed at the octopus with these like fucking like laser eyes. And then he looked at me and then looked back at her and they started like talking in a heated manner again. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Are they talking about the size of my dick? Like what is going on? And anyway, they ended up deliberating and then she bought this one with a dragon on it. And I'm like, okay. And then he then got something from behind the counter that I couldn't see and he pulls it out and it had it in a paper bag. She gave it to him. They exchanged money and we left and we're walking down the street and I'm like, what was that about? And she's like laughing. I'm like, this is the most fucking surreal thing ever. Like, what is going on? And then she pulls out a pipe, like a kind of like a pot smoking pipe from the bag. And I'm like, okay, so it was actually drugs. And she's like, marijuana? And I go, yeah, I do. And she goes, do you know fake? It's like fake marijuana. I'm like, oh, right. It was like spice, like synthetic marijuana. And then it's snowing in Tokyo at the time. It was freezing cold. And we walk through downtown Tokyo towards her apartment. And she just stops at outside these apartments. They weren't hers. And it was like a sort of an incline driveway that goes down, a very steep driveway that goes down into like underground parking. And then like obviously the door with the apartments to go up the stairs. And she just pulls out the pipe and starts packing it. I'm like, fuck, are we going to do this here? Like we can't just wait till we get back to your place. So I'm like, I'd never had spice before and I never will again. But she pulls it out and rips it and then gives it to me and I smoke it too. I'm like, how bad can it be, really? It's like not even the real thing. Anyway, within like a couple of minutes of smoking it, I literally start like teleporting, like where I just feel like I'm in one spot, blank out, then I'm in the next spot. Very scary shit. Like it was like I've probably never had an effect from a drug like that in my life, I would say, where it's like from the inhalation to such a severe, like effect. And so she was like all out of it too. And then I was teleporting and then all of a sudden I was like sitting down and I saw her and she fell forward on the inclined driveway because she was staggering around. She fell forward and smacked her head, like fell down this driveway, like from quite a height and smacked her head and it made this awful coconut kind of sound. And she cracked her head and split the top of her head open and it was gushing blood. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to jail for the rest of my life now. So yeah, I've got to somehow deal with this. in the best way possible. And so, yeah, she was bleeding. I didn't have a phone I didn't know how to like contact Japanese emergency services. I had a phone, but I didn't have a SIM card or something. And so, yeah, I'm thinking she's bleeding. What am I going to fucking do? I get the spice and the pipe that's on the ground, and I throw them down the road. And I'm thinking there's nothing else I can do except for just try to get help. So I just run out into the middle of the road and start like hailing police, like trying to get some sort of like, hopefully police will come. There's all these cars coming and no one's stopping. Like no one stopped to help. I'm like, fuck, I'm absolutely fucked. This person's going to die. And so finally, after about 10 minutes of just trying to wave cars down, and she's just lying down bleeding while this is happening, finally, luckily, a cop car came. And the cops come, there's 4 people in the cop car, and they pull over and they get out and they come up to me very suspiciously. And I point to her in the driveway bleeding and I said, oh, she's fallen over, like she's had too much sake, she's fallen over, please help me, like she needs like an ambulance, a hospital. And they look at me, like squint at me, and they're like, and they couldn't speak English, and they just looked at me like what the fuck have you done? And they go over to a wall and push me up against this fucking wall and proceed to completely body search me. They put their hands in places you shouldn't put your hands, and they took everything I had off me, so like my passport, my phone, my money. It like searched all my pockets, put their hands into my, like essentially like in my pants, and touched me up to make sure I didn't have anything on me. Lucky I'd thrown the spice down the road. And the whole time I'm saying she needs help, and they're looking at me like very confused. And one of the female cops looks at the woman and then walks back to me, and then they take me over to the car and they're like running something through a system. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Help this woman. And while this is happening, they get towards the car and start like deliberating and talking and shit. And she's on the driveway, crawling up the driveway with a split open head, I shit you not, calling my name, going, Jurian, Jurian. And I'm like, fuck, this is like something out of The Grudge or The Ring or something. It was so frightening. It was more frightening that they weren't helping, really. And anyway, so after a certain amount of time, they just gave me my stuff back. And while they were giving me my stuff back, she got up from the gutter finally with this like cracked open skull and just walked down the street, like staggered down the street. And I'm pointing to her going, she's trying to like walk away, you need to help her. And the police just looked at me like I'm a complete fucking Gaijin scumbag. And she walked off. And then they said, okay, in broken English, you can go. I'm like, right. And by the time they let me go, she was gone. But at the club, I had given her my email and talked. I'd given her my email and I talked about the hotel that I was staying at, like in vague sort of conversation. It wasn't even, a serious thing. And then I thought that she wouldn't remember that, nothing would come of it. So I go back to the hotel. And my friend, it's like 4 a.m, and my friend wakes up and he's like, where the fuck have you been? And I just collapse in front of this fucking bar fridge. And I'm like, oh, dude, you will not believe what has happened. I tell him the whole story. He's like, you're a fucking retard. I go, yes, I am. And then I go to sleep and we wake up at like 7 a.m. and the phone is ringing in the hotel room. And I'm like, who the fuck is ringing us? Surely we don't have to be out today. We booked this for 3 days. And my friend's like, just answer the phone. So I answer it. And they're like, hey, there's a person down at the lobby who is asking for you. And her name is Rirahana or something like that. I'm like, what? And I'm like, can you just tell her to go away? She's like, she's very adamant that she meet you. Like she really wants to meet you. I'm like, no, just tell her I'm not here or I can't or something. And then, so that happened. And then I didn't hear of it again. Like they had rung a bunch of times, finally answered, said that, and then nothing more occurred. So she had like rocked up at the actual place that we were staying in and had remembered that from this drunken, like fucked night. Anyway, so that was the end of the story. Never saw her again, but I did get a series of emails from her, which I'll post in a moment, of her saying that she wants to meet again. And for some reason, the whole night was such an ordeal. I didn't want to do that because it was just, I don't know, it was just the whole thing was such a fucking ordeal. I didn't want to, it had kind of ruined whatever thing was going on there. So anyway, I just wanted to tell that story about how I nearly got into a great deal of trouble, and I will post the screenshots of those emails now. Thanks for listening.